Question I want to ask.
Andre Stevens says that Avril Warmington ejaculated on his foot when he was a youth.
I would like to make promise.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, and all these unfilled promises.
I make commitments. And under the Labour Party government, we are going to ensure that we bring to this country the big power plants. We are going to ensure that we bring to this country the big energy companies that can put the money in here to build the plants to give you cheaper and better electricity.
The Prime Minister is a naive person. Maybe I don't know if I'm too young or, but I'm very naive.
Disaster, nah light, nah water. Beryl serious, no laughter. You should have seen the line in a Fontana. In a Fontana. Tree gone, me veranda wet. Shirt on the line, Beryl come take wet. Like gone from morning, it just no make sense. Pull up that song there.
Now welcome back to another exclusive for live. Now blessing goes out to all my viewers and all my subbies, all my well wishers. Like, share and also subscribe if you haven't done so already. Coming up in today's topic and review.
Question I want to ask.
Andre Stevens says that Avril Warmington ejaculated on his foot when he was a youth.
I'm asking you to ask. The meeting will not go further.
I did the same, Mr. B.
You're referring to me as a criminal.
I don't believe I'm referring to you.
I don't believe. I know and you know.
In the court. Sue me, Mr. Chairman.
Child sex abuse epidemic. Socio cop warns of monster in the room.
The police are calling on parents and guardians to be more vigilant in supervising their children, as law enforcers are dealing with too many cases of early initiation of sexual acts and abuse of children. In fact, Inspector Florence Clark, who is attached to the Center of Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, Socio, described as a monster the incidents of both male and female adults engaging in sexual activities with children.
A Canadian-funded project currently underway to teach children about so-called sexual and reproductive health rights has sparked the concern of Christians locally. Advocacy officer at the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, Philippa Davies, is amongst those who have accused the Jamaican government of exposing the nation's children to perverse ideas in exchange for money from the secular North American country.
Honourable Olivia Bobsy Grange, 5 November 2022, Grange launches Canada's new gender equality programming in Jamaica, Kingston. November 5, the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Honourable Olivia Grange, has said that the government is grateful for the continued support to achieve gender equality in Jamaica given by the High Commission of Canada in Jamaica. Minister Grange's comment came at the launch of Canada's new gender equality programming in Jamaica.
Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, you may talk to right now. I'm come to talk to you. Look for my face. No laughing. He's a young youth. Young ghetto youth. You might see me, you might think so me I want to dance one them, but me I don't want to dance one them, so you listen to me good. But I just want to ask you some question before me even crucify you or even chastise you. I'm not after me even more crucify you. I just want to ask you some question, Mr. Andrew Holness. You see me I say? What type of legacy you want to leave behind with the Jamaican people?
Me a fear sleep naked at night time to me at 1 week now no light.
Man is also blocked and our news team has experienced the presidents and the authorities, and this is what they have to say.
Everything what the house 2 years and the storm coming. Yo! To other family home. When I come back, the house of
Beryl that a blow and a liquor shop. See me mango a flies a missile that bedroom gun cooler for sweep out that transformer explode like blood of pop. Disaster, nah light, nah water. Beryl serious.
Night time, you can't even put your hand out the door, you can't even see your own hand.
We understand say government is trying to put the light back on the main. We're on the main.
For them, security is of a major concern.
From the other day, a peer killing a go on here, so we're not safe none time at all. So we want the light as urgent, so we are called upon JPS.
Dangerous, getting very dangerous. And I have my kids, them, I have my son, I have my children, them. So I need the light, JPS, I need the light. JPS is Jamaica people stress. We want stress, we want light today.
Up first this evening, insensitive how the Energy Minister is describing the timing of a notice sent by the Jamaica Public Service Company to its customers that electricity bills may be overestimated this month. Darrell Vaz says he's awaiting word from the Office of Utilities Regulation about what can be done. But the JPS says the formula for estimating bills is long established and approved by the regulator. Your bill this month may be estimated. JPS to customers on Friday. The Light and Power Company says Hurricane Beryl has impacted its ability to do actual meter readings. JPS concedes the estimation may not truly reflect actual electricity usage since Beryl, but quickly adds that any over or underestimation will be reflected in August's bill. But the possibility of an overestimated bill, as thousands of Jamaicans struggle to recover from Hurricane Beryl, does not sit well with the Energy Minister.
I think it is a bit insensitive in the way they communicated that, especially in light of the fact that they still have a lot of work to do to restore electricity across the island. And as we speak, there are thousands of persons that still do not have light. I just want to assure the Jamaican people that I've seen it, and I'll be monitoring it to make sure equity and justice is done, especially to the suffering persons from Beryl.
Darrell Vaz says he's currently in discussions with the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR.
Any estimated bill would have to be less than the previous actual bill, number one. And number two, I've already spoken to the OUR head today, and I expect that they'll have meetings early next week in relation to what can be done to ease the burden of the JPS customers in relation to an extension on the timeline when the bill is due, some kind of moratorium, as Jamaican people are suffering.
Now, the formula for estimated bills is the average of the last 3 bills, a formula the JPS says has long been approved by the OUR.
Not all customers will be receiving estimated bills because we have been able to gain access to some of the meters and we are generating bills based on actual reading. It's important to bear in mind that JPS is a regulated company and we're guided by specific rules and performance standards. The methodology that is used to calculate estimated bills is approved and mandated by the Office of Utilities Regulation, and this is a methodology that we use all the time.
Ms. Cullum says the estimated bills are not ideal, but
Hurricane Beryl interrupted our ability to read meters. We had to suspend manual meter reading for a few days because meter readers could not work during or immediately after the hurricane. We're still not able to get to some meters because of access challenges. On the other hand, the telecoms technology that facilitates the remote reading of smart meters was impacted, and this prevented us from getting the readings from the smart meters. She says bills must be generated in the 30-day billing cycle or the company could be in breach of the regulations. Now, in an update to TVJ News a short while ago, Energy Minister Darrell Vaz says a meeting is scheduled for Monday with the JPS, the Office of Utilities Regulation, and his ministry to discuss the concern. He insists, despite the regulations, the current situation is extenuating.
This is not a matter of only legality. This is a matter of morality. The fact of the matter is that it cannot be that in the height of reconstruction and restoration, that the only thing that JPS can tell the people of Jamaica is pay an estimated bill when many places still don't have light. JPS will have to make some strong decisions in the coming days in relation to this matter.
Everywhere me turn on the internet, me see man, woman, pitney, young, old, elderly, abash, and Holness. Never in the history of Jamaican politics, I have never seen so much people bashing a government in Jamaica. You know what I say? I tried to show YouTube a while ago. I hear a little youth sing a song, you know, it's a new song where the youth put out. And the youth draw a line in the song where the youth are saying money enough and big, like Andrew Holness knows, you know. Over here it me I say, wait. What is going on? Why, Mr. Andrew, I don't know why you do them people there, you know. But me I tell you, them bit against the eye, you know. Yes, man. The people them bit against the eye. I wonder if you see it. I look into it. Boy, maybe you need for all the meds, you know, Mr. Andrew, and go deep within the eye self. And see if there's somewhere where you went wrong, you know, with these people. Because
it's a pussy country, and a pussy country it will remain. Now we are talking to LGBTQ. Pussy country, we love it out here.
The people that just get up and just bash you every day, so I'll tell you what I have to go do your mother and your wife and all them type of thing. Giano Star. They tell you, man, the people that not play with you nowadays, Mr. Andrew, they not play with you at all.
Phone. Me a liberal from birth, you know. And me tell you this, enough of them me make win. Me make Gregory Mayor win. Me make Carl Samuda win. So you know about politics. See, I better make me want for my people them.
Uno fear look out for the poor people. I mean not talk and I put my mouth in the dirt. Me I talk to my Prime Minister. And you only the 5 years when me down mountains you are do. And what uno politician did fear do. And I will stand by that. It's a pussy country. And a pussy country it will remain. Now we are talking to LGBTQ. Pussy country, we love it out here. The girls love cocky and the boys love pussy. That's the way and the order of nature.
A Canadian-funded project currently underway to teach children about so-called sexual and reproductive health rights has sparked the concern of Christians locally.
But blessings on the goes out to you, my viewers and my subscribers. Now, my subscribers, I'm convinced when the Prime Minister says that Jamaicans are more tolerable and are now more acceptable to homophobic in Jamaica. I think he have a point, and he is rightly so of saying it, because the people them are very quiet, considering the fact that this article is truth and nothing but the truth. Recently, this article surfaced on the internet where it is stating that the government of Jamaica take 1.1 billion from the Canadian government to promote certain type of things in Jamaica pertaining to the youth. However, after I was on the Facebook and I do some run through, I come across this article which was posted by the Honourable Bobsy Grange, and to my surprise it was addressing the same issue. And I noticed since that developing story has surfaced on the internet, the government haven't have nothing to say about it, neither the opposition leader have nothing to say about it, neither none of the GLP bloggers them have nothing to say about it, which I found quite strange, considering the fact that boogering is illegal in Jamaica. So I'm a bit confused how the government can take money to do this when the law of the land is that boogering is illegal. Cause let me remind you that the PNP MP, named Briscoe, Mr. Briscoe or whatever him want name, he was arrested and in prison right now for boogering, which is right within accordance of the law of Jamaica. So this is confusion, and there need to be some form of explanation on the laws of Jamaica. I want you to check out this article where Miss Bobsy Grange is actually confirming that what this developing story will break, where the government take 1.1 billion from the Canadian government, is actually accuracy to this story. That's why I'm convinced that Jamaican are more tolerant and are now acceptable to this kind of lifestyle.
Advocacy officer at the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, Philippa Davies, is amongst those who have accused the Jamaican government of exposing the nation's children to perverse ideas in exchange for money from the secular North American country. The Jamaican government had received $1.1 billion in November 2022 to finance 2 projects, one of which is to advance sexual and reproductive health and human rights in Jamaica. A little over half of the funding was allocated to implement the Strengthening Access, Inclusion, and Leadership for Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights in Jamaica, SAIL SRHR project, over a 5-year period from 2022 to 2027. The project is targeted primarily at adolescents.
Honourable Olivia Bobsy Grange, 5 November 2022, Grange launches Canada's new gender equality programming in Jamaica, Kingston, November 5. The Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, the Honourable Olivia Grange, has said that the government is grateful for the continued support to achieve gender equality in Jamaica given by the High Commission of Canada in Jamaica. Minister Grange's comment came at the launch of Canada's new gender equality programming in Jamaica, yesterday, October 4. It has been a matter of ongoing partnership and collaboration between us, and I commend the High Commission of Canada in Jamaica for the launch of the new gender equality programming. It signals a recommitment that is born out of the belief that gender equality should remain a primary focus for all Jamaicans. The High Commission has maintained a prominent role in matters related to gender development in Jamaica. In addition to timely and relevant gender programs and initiatives, the High Commission has provided significant support to the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport through the work of the Bureau of Gender Affairs, BGA. Some key areas of partnership with the High Commission of Canada in Jamaica include the Canadian Fund for Local Initiatives, CFLI. That program is designed to support small-scale and high-impact projects, particularly those that impact women, girls, and other vulnerable groups who are at increased risk of experiencing increased levels of poverty. The BGA has also been supported through grant funding to implement an initiative dubbed the Agri-Care Project. It targets at-risk women in selected agri-farming communities across Jamaica, namely Street and St. Mary. The women were given starter packages and other forms of support to increase the scale of productivity in farming. Another form of assistance is the Repurposed Engender Project funded by Global Affairs Canada. It has provided disaster recovery and relief through the donation of packages especially to the most vulnerable communities throughout Jamaica. I look forward to a continued robust and fruitful partnership between the government and the High Commission of Canada in Jamaica, towards the achievement of gender equality and equity.
What do we understand the term sexual and reproductive health and rights to mean? It means abortion. It means advocating and teaching LGBT ideology in schools. It means confusing children as to what their real human identity is. It means saying to children that sexual feelings ranks higher than what biology and anatomy says.
That was Advocacy Officer at the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, Philippa Davies. The High Commission of Canada in Jamaica has made it clear that its team is committed to advancing the rights of the LGBTI community in Jamaica. One of the organizations that is carrying out the project is the Caribbean Vulnerable Communities, CVC, whose executive director, Ivan Cruikshank, is also the chairperson for the board of directors for J-Flag, a homosexual lobby group that advocates for lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender LGBT people in Jamaica. The CVC was the organization that funded Jamaicans for Justice in efforts to introduce unauthorized sex education material in 6 privately run children's homes in 2014. The content prompted public outcry and condemnation from several groups in the island, as it was deemed to promote the gay agenda and material not fit for children. The scandal resulted in investigations being launched by several state agencies, including the Police High Command and the resignation of former Executive Director Dr. Carlin Gomes from the Jamaicans for Justice Board.
Now my viewers, we know say we are smart thinking people and we can hear clearly what the article said right there, so that back in 2014 the government did try this same thing and they were arrested, who was put under investigation and all type of sitting, but only thing we know said the law was working towards this kind of thing towards the nation. Now since 2016 or 2017, since Andrew Holness come in, him on a mission, and now in 2024 he's aiming to complete it. Now him can't complete this within this term, so it's very important for him to win the next coming general election, and once him win the general election, this is what you're gonna have at your doorstep. Now, Jamaica is a small island. This is not Canada where it's a big place, or America or the UK. With Jamaica, a small little island with only maybe 3 million population, this kind of stuff, you know what I mean, can be very damaging to the nation because it can spread very fast and Jamaica is so small.
Davies said the ideologies that influences Canadian laws and policies are not hidden.
The people of Jamaica should feel betrayed and angry that their government is forming partnership with a country whose public policies regarding sex and sexuality are clearly diabolical. This government is putting the health and human flourishing of future generations of Jamaican citizens on the auction block in exchange for Canadian dollars. Just look at Canadian law and policy to see where Jamaica is likely to end up if we continue along this path. Nihilism, sexual anarchy, abortion on demand, and euthanasia. This is what? This is about fundamental freedoms being suppressed in order to advance deviance and gender confusion.
Several of the adolescents who benefited from a recent CVC training session gave a verbal commitment to share with their peers the teachings from the project.
However, I don't know if this is connected to that, but only thing me know say this article is saying what presently happening to many children of Jamaica. Listen carefully.
Child sex abuse epidemic. Socio cop warns of monster in the room.
The police are calling on parents and guardians to be more vigilant in supervising their children, as law enforcers are dealing with too many cases of early initiation of sexual acts and abuse of children. In fact, Inspector Florence Clark, who is attached to the Center of Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, Socio, described as a monster the incidents of both male and female adults engaging in sexual activities with children. Clark made the overall call and statements at a recent meeting of the St. Andrews South District Consultative Committee, DCC, conference at Pembroke Hall High School in St. Andrew. She said children aged 8 to 12 are now being taken in for care and protection after having been sexually abused.
Davies noted that in Canada, some parents are choosing to send their children to private schools to shield them from the illogical ideologies being promoted in that country to confuse children.
It is unconscionable that these persons insist that their beliefs be tied to aid in other countries. And it is tragic that our government ministers would not inform themselves or blind themselves to what is happening into Canada, and for the love of money want to bring into Jamaican space, Jamaican school, Jamaican communities, this kind of illogical ideology that is wreaking havoc in the Canadian society.
Among those who were present for the announcement of the $1.1 billion funding from Canada was Jamaica's Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports, Olivia Grange, and then State Minister in that office, Orlando Terrelong. Also present were Gillette Cuthbert-Flynn, who at the time was the State Minister in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and Kezia Carr, Chief Executive Officer of the National Parenting Support Commission, who represented the Ministry of Education and Youth at the launch. Davies stated that the focus on sexual and reproductive health rights is part of efforts to undermine and remove parental rights and make children more accessible to pedophiles.
So if you move parents out of the way, parents who are the filter and the first protectors, if the state is removing parents out of the way, you're making vulnerable children who are still immature in their mental and emotional development and physical development open and accessible to pedophiles. That is state policy in Canada. And Jamaican politicians want to replicate that here. Jamaican parents need to be aware and they need to speak up and to say, not on our watch, not in our country. We will not allow our government, for the love of money, to create this access to our children and make them vulnerable to pedophiles. Are these Jamaican politicians who are supporting the implementation of this program happy to sell out Jamaican children for money?
That was Advocacy Officer at the Jamaica Coalition for a Healthy Society, Philippa Davies. See more details in the Freedom Come Reign on this developing story. I am Tamika Price Henry.
Child sex abuse epidemic. Socio cop warns of monster in the room.
The police are calling on parents and guardians to be more vigilant in supervising their children, as law enforcers are dealing with too many cases of early initiation of sexual acts and abuse of children. In fact, Inspector Florence Clark, who is attached to the Center of Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse, Socio, described as a monster the incidents of both male and female adults engaging in sexual activities with children. Clark made the overall call and statements at a recent meeting of the St. Andrews South District Consultative Committee, DCC, conference at Pembroke Hall High School in St. Andrew. She said children aged 8 to 12 are now being taken in for care and protection after having been sexually abused. We have a monster that continues to haunt us daily, of sexual intercourse with persons under the age of 16, where our children are being victimized by adults, males and females, and by their peers, Clark informed. She urged intervention by the consultative committee in addressing the issue within its environment. Clark also said it is important that parents receive assistance to speak to their children about sex and personal safety. Under the Sexual Offences Act, it is unlawful to have sex with anyone under the age of 16. The role of Socio is to investigate all sexual offenses that have been reported, and to ensure efficient and effective investigation into all allegations, as well as enhance the rehabilitation of victims through counseling and therapy. The St. Andrew DCC serves as a forum to increase police-citizen engagement in facilitating discussion, as well as developing and implementing effective action plans to address problems affecting communities within its ambit.
Our children, especially girls, continue to go missing, and Andrew the tracker can't find them, but can find people on social media who talk the truth about him. What happened to the missing person unit?
Person I want to ask.
Andre Stevens says that Pavro Warmington ejaculated on his foot when he was a youth.
When I was a youth, carried me to his house, tried, I was there to write a speech, and the speech turned out Jamaica, to him trying to seduce me, to sleep with me, and I never indulged. He took off his clothes and started to jerk off and ejaculated on my foot. That created trauma for me for years, Jamaica. And when I went to Juliet Holness and told Mrs. Holness what happened, you don't want to hear what Mrs. Holness told me, Jamaica.
A criminal. Then Mr. Williams to withdraw the statement to call a criminal. Same time don't call a jackass. I am saying to you, him call a criminal is a different story.
We have to laugh. We're a bit of ball out to the man call him criminal now, and this is the labor right there. Argue with each other. One of the other member of parliament call Wormington criminal. I don't know why I call Wormington criminal, but Wormington was have it and Wormington lose it. But Mr. Wormington, you know, Andre Stevens just say where you go out with that. I don't hear you say nothing about it. And me no say silent mean consent. And to now go on like you don't want people for must talk about on the dirt and no want silence people and all type of something. But me have this few to tell you now. Anything in the dark must come to light, and from when the works not clean, remember me I tell you no man, you not gonna get paid accordingly. Now listen to Wormington and the other Labourite MP. One piece of war in a parliament.
I'm asking you to ask, the meeting will not go further.
I didn't say Mr. Bean.
You're referring to me as a criminal.
I don't believe I'm referring to you.
I don't believe. I know and you know.
In the court. Sue me, Mr.
Chairman, I am asking you.
Sue me.
Chairman, you will not have any peace in here. No peace within here this meeting.
I didn't call nobody.
But the meeting will not move on.
Hold on, Mr. Jones. Mr. Williams, please. I didn't say Mr. Bean.
Chairman. Okay, go ahead.
I am asking Mr. Williams. He's saying that you're saying that Mr. Joe, you're referring to it. I'm asking you to withdraw. If you're not, Mr. Chairman, with all respect, I didn't mention any name. I say I don't want to sit and listen to any criminal. Okay? So if you want to believe, if he believes he's a criminal in the room, I want to accept that. I want to take it upon himself.
Chairman.
Let us see business. Why can't I don't want to sit and listen to any criminal?
Remember, this meeting will not be nice. I tell you that. Continue. You want to have more of me? I'm coming at you. Come, go ahead.
The Prime Minister is a naive person. Maybe, I don't know if I'm too young but I'm very naive. Nobody wants to hear that your government is tracking you, even though we know so them do it. You know the way there? Where ears no ear, heart no leap. You know them say where eye no see, heart no leap. Well, me I say where ears no ear, heart no leap. We know say them can't do it, you know. But we don't want it come out of the donkey mouth say it happen. Because it make it get even more skeptical towards government. Now when me hear the Prime Minister come out and I say on social media and all the media and them have the know-how and the ways and the means to track we. Yeah, them can track we. Now, I don't know which Jamaican feel say that never happened or that never go on. But I know say I don't want to hear the Prime Minister say it. Because we start to look at him another way again. Because I look at him a certain way, but no, I look at him a different way. Because I don't know no Prime Minister, no President. I go tell the public say, I mean the public don't say you track them. I mean you have cell phone, you know, you have all sort of things where chipping and all them way to track the population. But you don't want to hear the head of the government say, he will track you. You understand? It make you get all paranoid to you that you don't buy chart, you know, you get paranoid. But me not get paranoid, you know, because me don't know say them have that already set up for listening to your conversation them and do all sort of things. See, now them have all sort of things at them disposal. Them are going to make you say all things where you never say. And when I say all things where you never say, means so now them just clone your voice and just make you say things. The clones say the thing them, and when people hear them say, hey, I'm out of that. Or if you say anything towards certain thing where a man vex, him just come look for you. I'm going to come here and say, really and truly, I know you. But it's a serious thing. It's a serious thing. When the Prime Minister said this thing. That's why people skeptical about the needs thing too, you know. This ID business where them a bring up and all them something there, because if a Prime Minister, hey, I have to laugh, you know, because I have never heard a head of state come out and tell the people them say, look here, me know how to do, because we have things we can track, you know. You do them things there as part of your undercover business, undercover work, and make we go and just have imagination about where you do and where you not do. Come tell me about say you attract me, Rasta, and attract the population. A madness. It's total madness. Because maybe what you do is not, I mean, the social media thing get away, you know. Social media get away because enough time I look on all that certain thing and I say, some things where me know me never say. And picture me with a gun in a me and all them way there. Me talk about it all the while on the top now. You know, I would know say it's a thing I go on. But for the head of the state, come and tell people say him can't track them anywhere them there and him don't catch one already. Him don't catch one already. It have a little bitter taste in my mouth. You know, understand that, Mr. Whosoever, Mr. Holness. When you do that, when you have them something, and you do that, you keep that as part of your hypocrisy. Because we don't know the hypocrisy we have played out already, you know, but a man has said this and I said that and I did that and then start tell you, say, him attract you. Him know how to get you. Him know how to listen in pan you and him know who you is when you say this and them something there. It's not very enticing, you know. A man has said that. You know, I bet everybody say it, Rasta, where ears no ear, heart no leap. I just say it go. We'll go for another break.
I feel like saying the Jamaica Labour Party, which used to be my party, because it's beer fishy business them a go on with. Me I tell you no say the hurricane no done blow good yet. Oh, on earth so much department figure out say it's gonna take them billions. That means that if they are $1 billion allotted to them and they only take 1 million, then get the rest of how much is million. I would answer you go. So it's a scraping thing. Because why would you not be able, it is impossible for so many departments to go all island and do their assessment in 8 days. And if we come up with all of these billion figures, something fishy. Mr. Prime Minister, sir, something fishy. Look into it, if fishy.